Hi there, and thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast. We feature those who are in the process of overcoming or have overcome any type of life encounter, life obstacle that at the time seemed to be almost insurmountable. With this podcast, we have three objectives in mind. Our first objective is we want you to know with a confident resolve you are not alone. We want to work with you. We want you to know there are others who are working with you, who want to help you through whatever you are encountering, and together we will get through whatever you're experiencing.
Our second objective is there are multiple options for any life encounter you are facing. We want to help you develop a resolve that there are various options and solutions to any life dilemma.
Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If you're encountering something that was possibly a decision you made sometime in the past, and if you had the opportunity for a life redo, you would make a different decision. We want to help you with those critical thinking skills that can help you make an informed decision and not encounter what you're going through at the moment. We are the Cooper Culture, a veteran-owned business. We work with business personnel and families to develop and sustain connected relationship cultures within their families and organizations. That type organization is one where people feel wanted, appreciated, and genuinely a part of that organization. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty, who has helped me facilitate this podcast. Today we feature Dr. Kristen Williamson, who speaks with us about neurodiversity, but her term is Neurospicy. She has a very upbeat attitude toward herself, her family. She is, by her definition and assessment, neurodiverse, but she chooses to use the term neurospicy because she is, and as she describes, a little different. It just means that she processes information a little different. She likes different types of activities that maybe makes her a little bit different from others, but it's a great opportunity to discuss this in a very upbeat, lively session where we learn about neurodiversity from her perspective, how it applies to others, and overall, Marty, it's how we can adapt to others who are neurodiverse. From our perspective, they merely process information maybe a little different than we do. But what are some takeaways you gained from Dr. Williamson?
Dr. Williamson was so informative. Of course, she's lived what this podcast is all about. Not only has she lived it, she has 2 children like this and a husband like this. She does say this family is unique and a little crazy sometimes, but they embrace their difference and say there's nothing wrong with them. It's just the way they think, the way they do things, and they accept life. So she's been very informative to us. I hope there are parents, grandparents, caregivers out there will listen to this and learn so much from Dr. Williamson.
Come on and join us. It is very upbeat, very informative. Let's listen and learn together. Dr. Williamson, it is great to have you with us. Listeners, I just want you to understand much of what this podcast is very impromptu, nothing scripted. Dr. Williamson, you, by your own testimony, are autistic. You're married to an autistic husband. You have 2 autistic children. We, listeners, Marty and me, grandparents, have an autistic 18-year-old granddaughter, and I think many of us need to learn through life experience because in some ways every day is a different life journey. We learn from people like you, but we choose to learn, choose to adapt. Dr. Williamson, oh my gosh, I can envision 5 or 6 different episodes coming from this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I love talking about autism and ADHD, and a lot of people call it And most people call it neurodivergency. I call it neurospicy because our brains are spicy. Sometimes they're the good kind, sometimes they're not. But either way, it's the spice of life.
Okay. And so, yes, I am believing that our 18-year-old granddaughter is diagnosed as high spectrum autistic. And yep, she lacks, I would say, or let's say, she can learn to achieve better executive functioning, that is, thinking ahead. She is a bit impulsive and so forth. But doctor, start us out that are there more people now who are autistic than in the past, or are we just learning to diagnose and determine that people
That
are who they are?
that is what it is. And science is so cool. Forever ago, I could not tell you the dates because my brain doesn't hold on to dates very well. It was like 1 in 168 children, 1 in 5,000 children. Like autism wasn't a thing. Just as they said, Down syndrome, wasn't a thing. But then you look back into history and you're like, oh no, it was there. It was there, but there wasn't diagnosis for it. There wasn't words for it. It was just grandpa's quirky. Dad really likes to organize the meats in the freezer. And so now there is an expansion of the diagnostic criteria, and females are getting added in. When the assessments were made, they were generated for white or Caucasian, cisgendered, young males of affluence. And I tell you what, I do not present the same way as my then 8-year-old boy presented. In school, I was that weirdo that learned how to crochet in 3rd grade and was really hyper fixated on it. And so I would crochet under my desk and make baby doll blankets, where other kids were just ignoring the teacher. I was the one making blankets, trying not to get caught. And I was labeled as quirky or as weird, or she talks a lot about bread or cats or dinosaurs. And it almost feels like you are an alien wearing a human disguise. And like, I can do this. I can say all the right words, but why does it feel like people aren't looking at me the same? Why can I say the right thing with the same like eyebrow lift or the tone? It's all the same. I learned it from copying TV shows that made other people laugh. How come I didn't get people to laugh? And so now they're coming in understanding that this criteria is actually way more expanded, and a lot more kids are getting noticed because there's a reduced stigma. I think it was 1988, Rain Man came out, and that was the first depiction of autism within Hollywood. And so that was the idea that if you're autistic, you must be a savant. You must be able to come in and card count, and you need to live in group homes. And no, not at all. And so as we are in now, there's been this, okay, the 90s and the 2000s with ADHD of, they're just bouncing off the walls. They're just this or this. Let's douse them up with Ritalin and they're fine. And kids need to be quiet and seen, but not heard. And I don't know if you've ever met an ADHD human, but they are heard. They find ways to be heard.
Oh yes, I am. I'll just interject very quickly. I'm self-diagnosed ADHD. I have been characterized as having 31 squirrels running all the time in different directions and so forth. Marty helps me focus attention and so forth. But doctor, let me ask you, in the context of the classroom and being quirky, weird, and so forth, did you feel as if you were an outcast, and were you to some degree? And then you have the personality projecting right now that, hey, I've overcome that, I've learned to accept it, or something. I'm trying to bridge that gap with you.
I was perpetually feeling as though I didn't fit in. And with autism, with ADHD, and it's more prevalent in autism and ADHD, but I think humans do it in general. It's the masking. And it's the idea of, think of it, you're an actor on stage and you can wear this character. And so I'm going to wear the mask of this high school student who knows how to talk about sports, and I can go talk to the football team, or I can talk to the band, and I can talk to learn all this information. You had said it earlier, just like perpetually curious. And so everything's interesting. You can talk about everything at maybe an inch deep, but miles wide in what you can talk about. And then there are some things that it's like, oh, you found a really special interest of mine. I can just go forever talking about it. And it took a long time to grow into my skin of I can be the weirdo, I can be the quirky one. And I think because it took me at least going through high school and to get into college and the acceptance of like, nope, I do things a little bit off, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. I can still have friends. They like me even though I'm off or a little weird.
Oh,
Those are the
you
ones that
hit on
typically stick
something
around.
right there that's so extremely important. I know it's with our 18-year-old granddaughter, but I'm going to be with a lot of other people. What I'm hearing you say, and please correct me if this is not your case, you to a degree aged through to be accepting of yourself and the fact that not everybody accepts you, that yep, you are different, but you may rephrase that as yes, I'm different, but I'm unique in a very positive way. It's
Mhm.
a degree of self-acceptance, but you maybe had to segregate your friends to hang with. And so that question is very, very broad and all-encompassing.
It's a lifetime of learning. And I think there are still moments of thinking, oh, I said something wrong, or I said something and their face changed. What did I miss? Because I still struggle with not always catching on to what someone's saying, especially if they're not saying it direct and there's subtext. I will miss that subtext. And so I'll respond to what's on surface level, but then it's like, oh, they actually meant something else. And I might have hurt their feelings. And now I feel really bad because it's never my intention to hurt their feelings. But it happens. And so it comes in with yep, my brain works different, but that doesn't mean it's less. And I actually learned that from listening to Dr. Temple Grandin. She's been an advocate for autism for decades now. I think she's in her 70s. I think she was diagnosed in the 1950s. And she has always kind of pioneered the idea of we're different but not less. And so that's something I've had to build into my words that I tell myself of it's okay to be different. That doesn't mean I'm wrong or broken. And just because the world doesn't see things in the way that I do doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
Yep.
And so with your 18-year-old, with the granddaughter, it's, oh, do you remember being 18 and fearless and thinking this, oh, you can do everything and everyone else is wrong and this is the way to go? Have that, but then add in spiciness to the brain, which if you're an undiagnosed ADHD, you've got the spiciness of your brain too. And it's, everything is interesting, but overwhelming at the same time.
Yep.
Were you rejected? People that your teens, your peers rejected you?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what Angelina has felt and basically does not have friends.
It's so hard. It's so incredibly hard at that age because when I was younger, I didn't like wearing makeup. And at the time, I didn't have words to say it's sensory. I don't like things touching my face. And so I was this 18-year-old who struggled with wanting to wash her hair every day because the sensory of it, or wearing the makeup. It's you feel like you're just off, that why do other people just get it and just understand? And then it's like, oh, well, they have these inside jokes. Well, I want to have inside jokes. I want to be included. And that's where I think a lot of society kind of misses the mark with us. They see that, oh, okay, you're on the spectrum. You're okay to hang out by yourself. You have these wild interests, but we have this need as other humans to connect, and we want to connect and find these friendships, but it's not always easy. And my recommendation, actually, I learned this reading Dr. Devin Price's book, Unlearning Shame or Unmasking Autism. Both are phenomenal books. They say in order to meet like-minded people, to kind of go to things that you like. If she's into card games or books or conventions, to find these people and to show up on the same time at the same day. And then you meet people who are into the same things that you are. And the right people will tend to flock to you.
Several questions come to mind. Sensory perceptions. Our granddaughter is very sensory perceptive to a list of things. She will sometimes shower 3-4 times a day because she's been outside amongst germs. She refuses to eat food that may be one day beyond the expiration date, even though it's been sealed, et cetera, and so on, that date and so forth. And because she thinks a little bit differently, it's difficult for her to find friends to even text, communicate with, hang with, anything of that nature, because she is just almost universally rejected because she thinks differently. And I really don't think, I mean, she can be, we call it unfiltered, not in a terribly appropriate way, but hey, whatever comes to mind, she's going to say. But as just one very simple example, we are eating a meal, and we're in a restaurant with who knows, 25 others or so, and the salad dressing is out in front along with bread, and I just happened to take a spoonful of salad dressing, put it on my bread, and eat it. She saw it and said immediately, "Pavel, you need to be fixed. You don't do that in public." And so I just know this to be her, and I accepted. We just went back and forth and so forth. But that's just one example of she can be unfiltered and just don't know how to accept and adapt to that. Am I relating anything to you?
Absolutely are. Not even to me as an 18-year-old, to me as a 40-year-old. And my husband's going to listen to this and he's just going to crack up knowing all the examples I could give. With food, our brains are so different. So he is a 20-year veteran of the submarine services, was not able to get diagnosed with anything because he would have lost his clearance. So that poor man was just raw dogging life in the military for 20 years. So he's learning about his brain now, which is more ADHD than autism. I think about it as stepping forward. I step first with autism, ADHD follows up. He steps first with ADHD and the autism follows. And so his brain is chasing 31 squirrels. My brain is collecting them and organizing them nicely in a row.
You sound like us. Love it.
And it's beautiful and chaotic and awful sometimes.
Yep.
And so for me, the other day, taking my kiddo to play practice, we stopped at 7-Eleven and grabbed a snack. And I was like, I want cheese. That sounds good. It was like one of the cheese with prosciutto wrapped around it. And I took a bite and it was soft to a level that I wasn't prepared to handle. And immediately my brain said, this is not anything you can ever touch again. And so I had to give it to my husband, who has just kind of learned, okay, I can take a bite. And if it's not texturally what my brain thinks it's going to be, it is dead to me. I cannot have it again. And it is a real struggle within our home because that means leftovers. Leftovers don't happen for us. For then a husband who likes to cook for 40,000 people, he's then eating the rest of the food for 40,000 people. Yep. And so that man has had to get used to eating the same thing 6 days in a row because me and the tiny humans who have either learned from me or have their own sensory and texture issues, it is a hard struggle. Something that's reheated, meat tastes different. And if it's immediately different, the rules that are in like almost etched in my brain have said, this can't happen. And so kind of like with your granddaughter going out to eat, she has these rules. Oh, polite society says you can't do this. And so if you do something, she says, no, you can't do that. That's wrong. And it's these really cool chances to come in and say, what does wrong look like? Am I breaking the rules? Is this good? Is this bad? Does this make you feel uncomfortable? And she's gonna be, yes, it does. Don't do that. You're like, well, as you learned in the Air Force, people are going to do things wrong. We got to accept it anyway.
Yep. Let me ask you, how long did it take you to feel you know exactly who you are, your purpose in life, and you seem to me to be very uh, well tuned. I'm going to use that term, and you are right in your sweet spot. We call it doing what absolutely you were created to do.
Yes.
Now, there are many of those on the spectrum, wherever they are, who, well, I don't know yet. I don't know, and I don't know. And we sometimes want to force them, so to speak, or try to fit them into some kind of a mold. Well, at this age, you should be.
Yep.
And some of those on the spectrum, my perception is they are chronologically older than their maturation age. So that
It's,
that may need to catch up and so forth. Again, that's a very broad spectrum of question, but
no, I love it.
how long did it take you to find your sweet spot? You have a doctoral degree,
I
and
do.
I will tell you, there's some, well, we're some people are saying those on the spectrum are unemployable. I don't agree with any aspect of that.
Yeah. Well, and not only have I heard that in households, but I do believe the human who's in charge of the Health and Human Services came out and really did autism dirty recently and said that we have no ability to pay taxes. We won't get to play baseball. Like we're a flight on society, which is absolutely uneducated. It took me, so I didn't get diagnosed until 39. And I'll be 41 this year. I got diagnosed with ADHD first. I got diagnosed with autism after, and I had to chase that diagnosis because I have 2 master's degrees. I'm getting my doctorate, or I got my doctorate last year. I'm working as a therapist. Like for all intents and purposes, it looks like I've got life pretty put together. But I am working in private practice now because I could not work in the corporate world.
Okay, yep.
Corporate was really hard. My brain doesn't identify with hierarchy. So I'd go talk to the CEO like I would go talk to a different coworker. And apparently for like societal norms, like that's not the culture for corporate work world, is you have to hold them in a higher level in the pyramid. And I'm like, everybody poops. Let's all talk to you like normal human.
Yep.
But it's the idea, and you were just bringing it up earlier, and it's so incredibly perfectly thinking that for us, we will get placed into boxes that people feel comfortable placing us in. They will put us in the boxes that label us, and that's the way that makes them feel comfortable. Because truthfully, autism brains make people wildly uncomfortable.
Yep.
I can go walk backwards down the street, and I am fine with it. I'm like, I'm walking backwards. And people are looking at me and like, you can't do that. You're walking backwards. That's not right. Like, that's true. But I'm doing it anyway. And it upsets people. And it's hard sometimes.
So you just talked about boxes. How do we help? I feel like my family, her parents are doing that. Maybe not so much our daughter, but some. I say, don't put her in a box. Find her sweet spot. And culinary happens to be a sweet spot that we think right now. I mean, she loves to cook, and she loves to mix the spices and see what you can do. So we got to find that someplace, like you said, find the someplace.
So there's one thing that I vehemently will advocate for each state. I believe each state. So I'm in Texas, and so I can speak for Texas and a couple of other states that I'm licensed in. There's something called vocational rehabilitation, and it's states will come help you find a job. And they say, you're unemployable. No, you're not. You're just not necessarily working for a spot that your brain can work with.
Yep.
And it's free. And I think it's genius, because states are saying, no, we want you to be working because we want to get the taxes that you pay. And so it builds that independence, it builds that autonomy, and it says, I heard this the other day. We will only grow as big as the container that we're put in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, oh, think about it like bread. We're in here, but then we gotta have space to fluff up.
Yep.
And so it's okay, you might be sitting in this container, but there's not a lid on it. You still have the ability to grow, but also the people who are putting you in the container need to know that the container has to be flexible enough to add growth as well. If you come in and tell someone, well, you're not going to be anything, they're going to grow up thinking that. We have generations of studies of kids from all socioeconomic backgrounds where in the beginning they all want to be president, they all want to be astronauts, but after a while the lower socioeconomic ones are like, okay, well, I'm going to go work at this construction company. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do this. They no longer have that dream for they can be anything. They come in with, I don't want to say more realistic standards. It's they stopped being offered those words of, yeah, you can be an astronaut. You can do this. And it's the same thing with autism and with ADHD. It's the idea of like, okay, well, we're not going to push and say that you can be anything. It's like, oh, well, maybe you need to limit yourself. And I think that's crap.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And in the context of you coming out of the box, so to speak, in other words, people labeled you, they didn't think you have the capability you do. Did you have to talk yourself through that? Did you have others say, doctor, yes, you can? How did you work your way through realizing, nope, you can, you just have a spicy brain, you think a little bit different. And oh, by the way, I'm not cut out for the corporate world. I'll be self-employed.
Yep.
How long in walk us through the process of how that came about?
Did someone?
Yes.
Did you have someone helping you?
I want to say yes and no. At the time, I think I felt really alone. But when I look backwards, there's always been a village who's helped.
Yep.
It's just my perception of the time made it feel as though I was alone. But I know I've had the backing of my family. My family didn't know I was autistic until I told them after my diagnosis. And my beautiful mom was like, are you sure? I'm like, what? Yep. Here's the paper. Are you sure? Because you don't act like your son. I'm like, yeah, that's true. And because it's her idea, again, Rain Man, and I wasn't matching that. It's, if y'all hear weirdness on the microphone, I have a cat with very poor boundaries who's rubbing up on it. So
That's fine. Hey, we're happy.
I don't know that anyone has said, hey, you're kind of quirky, you can do it. But my family has always had the mentality of, we're going to get through it no matter what. And that things can be hard, but that doesn't mean you get to stop. You can take a minute and breathe. You're allowed to say that it's hard, but you don't get to just fall apart.
And right there, very, very important. Our granddaughter just the other day said, well, her mother bought her an 1,800 piece Lego set. And her attitude is, oh, I don't have enough time to put it together, and ostensibly I don't have the patience and so forth. I interjected and said, I don't want to hear you say you give up. I don't want to hear that. We don't use that word anywhere in our family. And she got upset, and I was accused of overstepping my bounds as a grandparent. But I use that as a backdrop, doctor, to ask you, can we help a person say, no, you can accomplish, don't you ever give up it, or do you have to do that on your own? In other words, I'm trying to determine how much can we be a catalyst to inspire, and when is it time to back off?
Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful question. And I know my mom would want to be here listening to this as well, because for a solid 5 years we lived with her, and so it was me, 2 young kids, and my mom, and we were all figuring out life, and that was before any diagnosis came in. And so Nana had to figure out what it was like to be around but not overstep, and she's used to being a parent and not then coming in with okay, where is that line? And I will say that line changes with every different scenario.
Yep.
But coming in to say, I believe in you, you can do this. It can be hard, but you can do this. It maybe would be the flipping of the phrase instead of the, no, well, we don't believe in stopping. We don't ever give up. And instead of that, it's that, and not even that that's anything that you said, but so much of the, you know what, I understand. It's kind of that seeing where they are, that validation of, yeah, this is hard. This is a lot. You know what, though? You don't need to do every single part of this Lego thing. How about we just work on the first page?
Yep.
With autism brains, we get so anxious when we can't see beginning to end. And then we get really overwhelmed because we don't have all of that information of how long it's going to take, what it's going to look like. Like there's a lot. And I also think, as I've seen this with my 12-year-old and my 15-year-old, that this is the generation that gives up a little bit easier.
Yes.
Or the Amazon Prime Society, if it doesn't happen immediately. So they're the Amazon Prime. I'm the microwave generation where I want things done within minutes. But it doesn't always work that way. And so it's a phrase within our house that you just need to focus on the first step. And I have to tell myself that a lot because I want to know everything.
Mm-hmm. I want to say when she gets pressure like that, she will do just like she shaves some of her eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
She does something to her body.
It's things you can
We
control.
sometimes trigger anxieties.
Yeah, right. It when it triggers, and then that can happen. Doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen.
Well, and it's funny. I've got, well, it's not as blue anymore, but I love coloring my hair because for all the things in the world that I can't control, I can color my hair.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe this is a control thing.
It could be. And now clinically, there are some, it's called a trichotillomania. It's where you pull out hair.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She does that to her eyelashes.
And that is one that I can, if anybody is struggling with that, or you had mentioned taking multiple showers because if there's so many germs, that tends to lead into the OCD components, which is just exhausting. It's exhausting. Like her brain has to be exhausted. Anyone else who has brains like this, that, you know, I need to wash my hands, I need to do this, I need to do this because there's so many germs. It's almost that never ending compulsion, which makes it hard to go out and enjoy time with friends or do anything and meet other people because your brain is just taking over. And for that, I will say it's always beneficial to go talk to a doctor to see if there's anything that can help bring down your thoughts. And it doesn't even have to be a forever, but it could be, hey, I need something to calm my brain enough that I can learn these coping skills to add to my toolbox to potentially taper off and not ever use again, but I now have these coping skills.
Let me ask you, and I just have so many thoughts. I really want to ask you even ahead of time, even while we're recording. Would you consider additional episodes with us? Because I have so many things I know would interest our listeners. Would you consider additional episodes to discuss different aspects of neurodiversity, neurospicivity?
I would be so honored. That's so awesome.
Well, I want to ask you, through all of your life travails, if I could phrase it that way, and as you were defining yourself and being settled in your own mind, in the back of your mind, did you always know there is somebody who has your back, has you, they believes in you type thing?
Looking back, I can comfortably look back and say yes, but in the moment, I didn't feel like it.
Okay, that's very important because, again, I'm repeating myself a little bit. Our granddaughter has said in very recent conversations, "You understand me," which that to me has profound meaning. We're willing to speak with her, so maybe she's able to cognitively process. Yes, we do believe in you, albeit you're uncertain of what your future is, but we will stay with you to help you determine your future. We're not going to force anything on you. We're not going to put you in a box, label you, stigmatize you, anything like that. We just want to help you find where your strengths are and build on that.
Well, and I think that is the crux of it. You're able to come in and say, you're allowed to be you, and that's okay. Take your time and figure it out. If you want to learn cooking, let's go do a cooking class. Let's get on a YouTube video and figure out how to make this really weird thing. Or we can pretend like we're on a TV show and make horrible looking cakes, but have fun in doing it and see what she likes. I always like community college because you could take any kind of class you want. I could do pottery. No, I don't want anything touching my hands. I will not do pottery. Or learning something on computers, learning just kind of different things to finding out what you like, and being at that cool age of 18, that options are limitless.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of topics I want to discuss with you, and included our device time and what can be useful, helpful to the brain to develop and so forth, what is diversionary and so forth. Doctor, we are looking forward to further conversations with you to learn from your life experiences. You are so incredibly articulate. We believe in you being accomplished, and you've made it through a lot of things. Our listeners need to learn how to deal with life, to make it through. And I think you have the life experience to help us learn together. Dr. Williamson, thank you so much for this part of where we are, with many more episodes to come. Thank you so much for your life learning.
You have a great day.
All right, you too.
We appreciate having the opportunity to share our guests' life experiences with you.
The Cooper culture advances organizations to achieve and sustain high retention rates, connected communication, and trust through personality insights and principled leadership. You can contact us at our website, thecooperculture.com, and you can contact us directly at ron@thecooperculture.com or Marty, MARTY, at thecooperculture.com. We work with you to help assess aspects of your culture to advance the environment and people to their best performance. We do that through our staff of certified personal performance coaches, leadership trainers, keynote speakers, and DISC personality behavior experts. You can book a speaking engagement directly through our website by contacting us at ron@thecooperculture.com. We look forward to sharing our life experiences with you, some of which are profound, some of which are pretty funny. Some of those life experiences are ones we'll never do that again because we've been through stuff. We truly look forward to working with you, speaking with you, helping advance you in any way that we can.